How we doing, everybody? So we are here with the spoiler review of Halloween. So if you have not seen the film, do not watch this. Again, from my non-spoiler review, I liked the film quite a bit. I liked the homages, and I had a few problems with it as well. So let's talk about the problems with it, and then I'll kind of go into the stuff that I liked, and hopefully you guys agree with me. Two things that blaringly are kind of I've had a problem with. The first one, even more than the second. So the first one was Judy Greer. All right. Again, I like Judy Greer as an actress. I think she's talented, but she was miscast here because of the fact that they created a John Connor and Sarah Connor kind of characters here for this film. So, Jamie Lee Curtis's character, Laurie, cannot get over what happened to her 40 years ago with Michael, and she's been preparing for him to come back and kill her family, etc. So, she basically had a little militaristic type of sensibility where she had stuff in the basement, etc. You guys saw the film, so you know all the armory that she created in the basement and the secret passage and everything else. And, continuing through the film, Judy Greer says, oh, this is my childhood. She had me doing this whole time, blah, blah, blah. But she really didn't act like a kick-ass. I mean, even when she got the gun, he's like, she has that high-pitched voice, and she's not an action star, and she never will be. And she's just, if I was going to cast somebody that I was going to believe to be brought up in this militant type of existence, which she said her entire childhood was, it would not be Judy Greer. I mean, even the scene where she's like, I can't do this, and she's like, gotcha. Even then, it just did not work. I just did not buy her being the militant. And she's just not a strong woman. And she may be in real life, but she doesn't come off that way in screen. And, it's all about what you can portray. There are certain actors that are great actors that'll just never be James Bond. And this is the same case, So when you're casting, you go for look and you go for personality and you go to match a role. And even if the actor is the best actor in the world, they may not be able to play a certain role. And so this has nothing to do with her talent. It's purely that she just does not fit the role. No matter what she could do, no matter how she portrayed it, no matter how she read her lines, it just was not going to come off. And so that's my major problem with the film, was purely that piece of casting. And then the second part with the only scene that I really rolled my eyes at. So the cop was in the car. So we have Will Patton. I love Will Patton. So I've loved him since the one with Kevin Costner. I love that one too. I'm trying to think of the name. But anyway, so they're in the car, and he went and picked up Allison, the daughter, and he has a doctor in the car. But at this point in time, we don't know he's evil. So, and again, I love the scene with the little boy. I just want to be a dancer. But meanwhile, he got that gun pretty quick, and he shot that gun, and he didn't know that he correctly shot the right guy. But so I thought that was really good. But anyway, so he picks up Allison, has a doctor in the car, and what does he do? He charges at Michael. Charges at him with civilians in the car. Now, any cop will tell you that is against every rule in existence. You don't put civilians in harm's way. So if anything, he would have dropped them off somewhere and then came back and then dealt with Michael. But no way would he charge them and put the kid at risk, especially the kid. maybe the cop, maybe the doctor, but not the kid. Doesn't make any sense. So I rolled my eyes at that. And of course, everything went from bad to worse because of the fact that the doctor was evil. I kind of like that twist. I know some people were like, it really didn't work. I tell you what didn't work was how they did it. But in how the script was, the story, having him turn evil and having him want to be and experience Michael, I really like that idea. So whoever came up with the idea was right on, except that the execution of it wasn't that great. So those are my two issues. Other than that, I absolutely love the ending. Where they trap him down there and then they toss the whole thing on fire. Of course, and pretty much aside from the first movie, which is why they have to keep going backwards, Michael Myers dies in every single movie outside of the first one. So I was kind of surprised that they killed him off again. Of course, we never see his body or anything like that in this one. Like in the second one, they shoot his eyes out and put him on fire, and you actually see his body on fire. But with this one, you don't. But I'll tell you what I do like. Let's talk about the homages. I love the fact that, and my brother and I were talking about this today, where she falls off, her body's laying on the ground, leaning Laurie, and he looks down at her. So Michael looks down at her, and she's gone. Just like in the first movie, where the Pleasance looks down, and he's gone. I love that. I like the fact of the two kids that he kills, and I was surprised that he killed a little boy because he's never killed a child before. I was surprised about that. But he kills the two teenagers, and of course he has one attached to the wall, again an homage, and the girl he has in the ghost costume, or in the sheet, which again is an homage to the first film. Love it. I thought all that shit was all great. It was, all the doors closing where she had that. There was absolutely no reason for all those doors. It wasn't like she trapped him up there. But I think that was all just a foreshadow to the end. So she had all this stuff rigged, and it was just a foreshadow for the things closing over the door, the trap door. Again, all good stuff. The gore, I wouldn't say the film was really scary, but then again, that's me. There was plenty of kids. I couldn't believe there was kids in the theater, and there was people next to me that they couldn't find their seat, or people were in their seat, or whatever else. So there was constantly walking back and forth. So I was kind of distracted during a lot of that. But there was a lot of kids in it. I was surprised there was kids in the theater. I wouldn't take my 10-year-old kid to see Halloween. Obviously, you're just racking up psychiatric points later for them. But I grew up on horror movies, but I grew up on the black and white Halloween, Frankenstein, and that kind of stuff. I didn't see Halloween till much later, my teenage years.
Believe in the boogeyman.
He's here,
Michael.
But yeah, so the film was good. It had some issues, but overall, I would say it was probably my third favorite. Halloween 1 and Halloween 2 is still going to be my favorites, and I think this one beat out any of the other ones that came after it, including H2O. H2O wasn't that strong a film, where I thought this one, I thought that the characters had, all had their own little arcs, and they pulled it off pretty well. And, it's showing financially as well. With the $1 million budget, or a $300,000 budget back then, equaling $1 million now, the first movie made $50 million. So, that's a cash cow. And now we're at $30 million with this, and we're already, I was told we were already at $80 million, but I haven't seen those numbers yet. I think that's just an estimate of what they're going to be. So if it's $80 million this weekend, just domestically, because you got to double that throughout the entire run. That's usually how the numbers work. So if you're at 80 million, you're going to be at 160 million by the time the run's over. So, and that doesn't include international. I don't know how well Halloween or Friday the 13th, or all that stuff does internationally. I never really delved into it. But even if it's another 40 million, there's going to be a $200 million gross. And basically, the rule of thumb is 2.3 times the amount of the actual production budget with the marketing and everything like that. So if you're at 30 million, you're at 60, 70, 75 million before you break even. And so if you're at 80 of the first weekend, you're broke even after the first weekend. That's amazing. But again, that's why I'm surprised that they didn't. And Jamie Lee Curtis embraces. She's one of those few people that like Harrison Ford and some of the Star Trek guys are like, I don't want anything to do with it after the movie's over. I don't want to talk about it. Where this was her first film. Halloween was her first film, and she really embraces it, and she wants to keep doing it. Good for her, So she doesn't shy away from that at all. She's approaching late 50s, I guess, mid 50s, late 50s. So she's got plenty of years in front of her that she could keep doing it, I guess. So good for her. Again, like the film, go see it if you're a fan. I've been a fan of the slasher film for quite a while, and Freddy and Michael Myers are my two favorites outside of the Jason ones. Didn't really get me as much. That character isn't nearly as fun as the other two. But anyway, so hope you guys like it, and definitely let me know if you agree or disagree with my comments. And thank you again for watching, and have a great weekend. And I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, have a good one.